I mean, I focused mostly on dead animals, but also if you want to understand why right whales are suffering from a lack of calving productivity, you also have to understand what ails the living animals. So the sublethal trauma is as important, if not more so, than the lethal trauma. And so your average entanglement, the energetic cost of that is proportional to about the same scale as the cost to create a baby whale.
Okay.
Not to suckle it, but to deliver it.
Yeah.
And so that gives a pretty clear perspective on how these entanglements impact reproductive success.
Because of the wounds. So combination of things. So again, work that my mentor, Michael Moore, and some of his grad students had done looking at entanglement as a costly life stage, like pregnancy, similar energetic costs for being entangled. And part of that is because of the increased drag. So they have to exert more energy to swim, dragging whatever it is that they're dragging. Even a piece of line, you wouldn't think that that would cause an increased energetic burden, but it does. So there's that aspect of it, of the actual drag from the entangling gear. Some of these animals do also have, when their mouth is involved, oftentimes right whales are entangled and have some aspect of it in their mouth because they're often encountering the line when they're feeding. And so for those animals, there certainly can be. So for this whale in particular, there was kind of a cluster of rope in the back of its throat that certainly could have impacted its ability to feed. There's other animals that have been documented where the line actually goes all the way around their rostrum, so we think that their jaws are actually held shut by the entangling line. So that certainly obviously impacts an animal's ability to feed. And then the other piece of it is the body, obviously for this animal in particular, is spending all that energy to try and heal that. And so it's obviously increased energy expenditure because the body is constantly trying to make that wound better and failing, and so there's increased energetic costs there as well. So it's quite the burden on these animals, and the cost of pain as well. I mean, I think pain is something that we're even still learning about, the impact of chronic pain in humans and what that really does to an overall organism's existence, and we know obviously very little about that in whales, but they're obviously sentient beings and feel pain, so it's fair to draw some similar conclusions there in the cost of chronic pain. So the interbirth interval has increased. It used to be about 3 years, and now it's like 7 years. So they're having calves less frequently. There's a bunch of different hypotheses about that. One of which is maybe it's all just due to the energetics. So maybe it's partially due to climate change impacting them having to go further to find their food. Maybe part of it has to do with the energetic costs of being entangled. So there was a study a couple of years ago looking at, the whales that had been previously entangled are shorter. And so is it actually physically impacting their ability to reproduce? And those are questions we just don't know the answer to. But certainly one of the big things for us at necropsies is looking at their reproductive tract to see if there's another reason that we've missed that might be impacting their ability to reproduce. Is it just that they're not finding each other out there? Does it have to do with ocean noise? Or is there something else going on? Is there some level of contaminant or hormone disruption that we haven't detected that might actually be physically impacting their ability to conceive? We don't know. And we don't know where along the we don't know if they're not mating. We don't know if they're not conceiving. We don't know if they're aborting early. And we don't know if maybe they're having calves and then the calves are dying shortly thereafter. So there's so many steps in the process that might be impacted, and we're really just starting to look at that. It's a really hard thing to study.
Once we actually get to the heart of it and we start, I feel like there's a point where you just start tying and you just don't think about anything else, and it becomes very, I don't know how to say this because it's very esoteric. You just know, you can, the whole energy shift and change is very obvious.
But is there a point that you become most connected to me? Is it like, so I take and I torment? You see when I lifted her and she's hanging in the rope, but then there's that moment where I say you can stand up and I just like lean her and she finally could put a little bit of weight on her feet. It's like, it's allowing release, and it's each moment builds until that big crescendo of laying in a waist rope and crying her brains out. I think this practice makes you look at people and realize that some people don't have the ability to release energy this way, and some people have to build it up. They have their own vices for release, and that I'm grateful that we have this. And I look at people and it's like, this is the way that we release our quiet struggles. You know, not everybody puts their stress and their struggles and their emotions out there, and this is our way of releasing it. And